So this is a really, I guess, a special time of the year to join you. On the 31st of January, which was just a couple of days ago, we marked the 15th anniversary of the car accident that caused a spinal cord injury. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here chatting with you today. So 15 years ago, around this time, I was in the intensive care unit. I was in a ventilator. I was getting operations and struggling for life. And it was a turning point. And when this first happened in 2010, I would have done anything to have my old life back. I would have done anything to turn back the clock, not have the accident, and go back to the way I was. But here we are, 15 years later. I just turned 40 last year. And if someone asked me if I could give you a magic wand and we could go back and you could have your old life back, now my answer would be no. And I think today I feel like one of the happiest people on earth. I feel like I have an amazing life. I am grateful every single day. This morning I woke up in Gold Coast and I thought, you know what? I'm lucky to have this roof over my head. I'm lucky to be going to work. I'm lucky to have the food that I like to eat. I'm lucky to have clothes. I'm lucky to have my mom. I'm lucky to have all this stuff. So today I feel like the happiest person on earth. I'm at work right now at the emergency department at the Gold Coast University Hospital. It's the busiest emergency department in the country, or at least it was at one point. And we see a lot of people come through the doors. A couple of days ago, on the eve of the 15th anniversary of this accident, I had a patient who also had a spinal cord injury. They had an illness which necessitated an admission to the hospital. But this patient was so fearful, so badly affected by their previous hospital admissions. They said, I really don't want to stay in hospital and I refuse. We can do whatever else, but I'm not coming into hospital. The funny thing is, while I love being here today, I love being at work, I will not come to the hospital as a patient unless I'm dying. And I feel the same way as them. And it made me sad because all of us on this call today, we're probably more likely to require health services. We're probably more likely to require the health system, you and I. But at the same time, we're probably the most reluctant because of the treatment that some of us have got in the system. Anyway, I understood and we figured out a plan to keep this patient safe, but it got me thinking, we really need to do better in healthcare for the people that require it the most. I'm also ashamed at times because it's been 15 years now since this accident. And when I had the accident, I was a medical student. But before the accident, I had no idea what life was like for someone with you and me. I had no idea what life was like for those with disability. I had no idea what the day-to-day challenges are. I had no idea what healthcare was like. I had no idea about any of those things. But today I understand. But you know what? The sad thing is the healthcare system doesn't really enable the training of people with disability to become doctors, to become physiotherapists, to become nurses. The challenges are numerous, but unless we have a representation of those like us within the system, I think it's hard for the system to understand the struggles that we feel. But it's like that everywhere, right? We don't see people in politics. We don't see people on boards. We don't see people being CEOs. We don't see people being enabled to participate. But I think now more than ever, we need that because we also live in a country like Australia. I wasn't born here. I was born in Sri Lanka. And I know that for people like you and me in Sri Lanka, the life is very different. Life expectancy is very different. So the challenges are numerous. But I guess in the world stage, we're still better off than some others, like from the country where I came from. But at the same time, I think we have a lot of work to do. We need to make this system that we have better. We need to hold it accountable. We need to improve it. And I think the best way to do that is for you and I to get together and be a united voice, which is why I love the work that PDA does, which is why I've really valued the friendships like those with Sharon. And let's charge into the new year and be a positive change.